Ever wonder what happens when war's deadliest soldiers come home? The question haunted the small town of Millbrook, Pennsylvania, in the autumn of 1945. Samuel Greaves stepped off the evening train like a shadow given form. His reputation had preceded him. 214 confirmed kills across the blood-soaked battlefields of Europe made him a legend among the Allied forces. But legends, as the townspeople quickly learned, don't always receive heroes' welcomes. The station platform should have been filled with cheering crowds, brass bands, and tearful reunions. Instead, Samuel found only awkward glances and hurried footsteps moving in the opposite direction. His own family had relocated to Pittsburgh months earlier, unable to bear the weight of his growing notoriety. His Pennsylvania neighbors whispered instead of waved. Conversations died when he entered the general store. Children were pulled closer to their mothers when he walked down Main Street. The war had ended, but Samuel carried its ghosts in his hollow eyes and mechanical movements. Unable to find peace among people, Samuel found solace only in the forest's embrace. He purchased a rundown cabin 5 miles deep in the woods, where towering pines created a natural fortress around his new home. The isolation that others feared became his sanctuary, and eventually, his prison. The townspeople rarely saw him after that first month. When they did, he seemed more specter than man, moving through their world without truly belonging to it. Midnight gunshots pierced the silence regularly, echoing through the valley like thunder in a clear sky. What was he hunting in those dark hours when decent folk slept peacefully in their beds? The local sheriff, Tom Bradley, investigated the reports but found no evidence of poaching or illegal activity. Samuel had proper hunting licenses, though no one ever saw him return with game. The shots came at odd intervals. Sometimes 3 in rapid succession, sometimes a single crack that seemed to split the night in 2. Some claimed he built target dummies among the trees, crude scarecrows dressed in military fatigues that he moved like chess pieces in an endless game of phantom warfare. Mrs. Henderson, who lived closest to the forest edge, swore she saw him through her binoculars, repositioning the figures at dawn, speaking to them in hushed tones as if giving orders to invisible soldiers. His uniform never came off, the same olive-drab fatigues he'd worn in France, now faded but meticulously maintained. His rifle gleamed with obsessive care, cleaned daily with the precision of a man who understood that his weapon was the difference between life and death. Names of the dead rolled off his tongue like prayers during his solitary evening walks: Mueller, Schmidt, Giovanni. The transformation became complete when local hunter Jake Morrison strayed too near Samuel's property one October morning. Morrison later described being observed, not by flesh and blood, but by something darker, with an unblinking stare that seemed to pierce right through him. Those weren't human eyes, Morrison whispered to anyone who'd listen. They belonged to something that had seen too much death to remember what life looked like. In 1954, 9 years after his return, Samuel vanished completely. No farewell letter, no evidence of violence, no signs of struggle. The mailman found his cabin door standing open on a Tuesday morning, revealing an interior frozen in time like a museum display. Only his pristine rifle remained on the front porch, positioned with military precision, a final salute to his deadly craft. The weapon was so perfectly maintained it seemed to gleam despite the morning mist, every component oiled and ready for action. Beside it lay a single spent cartridge, still warm to the touch according to Deputy Mills, though no one had heard gunfire that morning. The search parties found no trace of him in the surrounding wilderness. His footprint simply ended at the tree line, as if he had walked directly into the forest and merged with the shadows between the pines. The cabin remained untouched for months, too eerie for even the bravest souls to consider purchasing. Today, decades later, hikers report feeling crosshairs trained on their backs when they venture too deep into those woods. Camping enthusiasts speak of a presence that watches from just beyond their firelight, never approaching but never fully departing. The forest remembers its guardian, they say, and still feels his protective, or perhaps possessive, influence. Local guides now mark Samuel's territory on their maps with warnings about unstable terrain, though everyone knows the real danger isn't geological. They say ghosts never truly rest, especially those who died a little each day they lived. Some still patrol their posts, finger forever poised on triggers that can still fire from beyond the grave. The old-timers claim that on quiet nights, when the wind moves through the pines just right, you can still hear the faint echo of a single gunshot, Samuel Greaves, still fighting a war that ended long ago.